This everyone would know it, but here's the city-wise price chart for LPG as of now. Here's where it stands. If you are in Delhi, you are going to be paying 922 rupees for every 14.2 kg LPG cylinder for your domestic use. If you are in Chennai, slightly better, 915 rupees. If you are in Mumbai, 933.5 rupees. If you are in Kolkata tonight, you will be paying 950 rupees for every non-subsidized 14.2 LPG cylinder for your domestic use. Does the government realize it's possibly walking on very thin political ice? Prasenjit Bose, thank you very much. Economist tonight. Bibek Debroy, one of India's top economists. Mohandas Pai, formerly of Infosys, one of India's best-known entrepreneurs. Sajid Chenoy, chief economist of JP Morgan. Bejon, Misra, consumer expert. The politics matters, doesn't it, Mohandas Pai? The politics will begin to matter. If LPG touches 1,000, it will cross a psychological benchmark, won't it?
Yes, Arnab. Yes, Arnab, I think it's very insensitive and uncalled for. I supported the doing away with subsidy, but I think before the market has settled down, the government has done this. And my objections are because the market has got three prices now: one for the subsidy, one for non-subsidy for residential, one for commercial.
Yep.
There is not adequate supply of the non-subsidy refill in the marketplace. There is rampant black marketing happening.
That's the point.
And the rampant confusion in the marketplace. In the midst of all this, they're raising prices and hurting people. I think it's unsensitive and unnecessarily create a political controversy.
Okay.
I think it's totally uncalled for, Arnab.
It's a bit of a self-goal. Bibek Debroy, uncalled for. Is it also going to be a political self-goal?
Yes.
Yes, I think it's going to be a political self-goal, but to add to what Mohandas has said, let me quickly say a few other things. That this is only a small piece in a jigsaw, and the broader jigsaw is we've got problems with the indirect tax structure, we've got problems with refining, we have got problems with the cross-subsidization that happens across petroleum products, so it ought not to be just a LPG issue. Assuming it's an LPG issue, this is a very, very silly way of going about it in terms of distorting markets, and I completely endorse what Mohandas Pai has said. This is absolutely unenforceable, it is unimplementable, it creates arbitrage, it creates leakage. This is economically also disastrous, although one should actually remove the subsidies.
Let's see if we can get any defense at all of what's going on. By the way, this touches 56% of the country's population, because 99.57% of the 140 million LPG connections are for domestic use. LPG customer population covers 56% of the country's total. So 56% of the population will be hit by this. This is politically huge. Do you think somewhere, Sajid Chenoy, that pure hardcore economic logic will have to take a backseat given the popular sentiment that is prevailing?
Arnab, I'm not sure about that. Frankly, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Even after the moves we've seen, the total under-recoveries on oil subsidy this year will be 1,80,000 crores. The under-recoveries and subsidies on LPG will be 40,000 crores. That's more than the entire allocation for NREGA. So, you cannot run a country when your subsidy bill, food, fertilizer, fuel is at 2.5 to 3% of GDP. The impact on the fiscal deficit, the impact on inflation, the impact on the current account deficit and the rupee, those are unsustainable macroeconomic imbalances. So we'll have to learn to live with market-determined prices.
But the popular sentiment, what if somebody goes out tomorrow and says, you throw out a minister who's trying to save the government an additional financial burden of 53,000 crores only to benefit allegedly a private player, 40,000 or 43,000 crores, and on the other hand, you're making sure that the Aam Aadmi pays 1,000 or close, maybe even more. Then this argument,
there are no free lunches.
Can you brazen it out? No, Prasenjit Bose, can you brazen it out? Sajid Chenoy says even this is not enough. Prasenjit Bose, can political parties brazen it out?
No, I think that what Mr. Chenoy is saying, I think it is completely, out of line. First of all, his economic logic is also very convoluted. I don't know what this has got to do with current account deficit. The question is that first of all there are two problems. One is regarding this entire attitude towards subsidies. In a country where there is such huge income inequalities, in a country where there is a huge amount of poor people who depend upon fuel and subsidized food and fuel, these kind of steep hikes, and especially in a situation where you have very steep inflation, once again inflation is going up, your consumer price inflation already is around 10%, and this has been going on for the past 10 years. And for fortunate people whose salaries are linked to, you have dearness allowance and all that, think about what is happening to, daily wage earners, what is happening to lower middle class people, and what kind of burden this, 26 rupee hike for every 7 cylinder that you buy. What is it going to mean for household budgets? Why are you being so always when you're talking about macroeconomics? The household budget, understand macroeconomics. What about family budgets? What about ordinary people? That's number one. But I have an additional point, Arnab. You see, the point is that I was hearing very carefully what Mr. Pai and Dr. Debroy had to say, and it welcome that they're opposing this steep hike. But there is a fundamental problem in the way deregulation is being done. Because you see, this is not only a one-time hike. What is going to happen? Every first of every month, as per not only what is going to happen to international prices, but what is going to happen to your exchange rate. Now we all know how exchange rates are being determined. FIIs pull in funds into India, your rupee appreciates, they take out money, rupee depreciates. Who will pay for this speculation in the stock market and the exchange market? The ordinary consumers of India, by having to pay more for
how
LPG.
Much focus?
So I don't think that commodities like fuel, like LPG, should be left to market forces in this way. Well, because this is not in the interest of the common man.
This decision has been taken. I don't know if it can be taken back, but I'd like to get in the consumer voice. Dr. Bejon Misra.
It's a tight, it's a complete disregard to a consumer's need. The fuel is something which a consumer needs on a day-to-day basis. And most of our consumers, even in the rural India today, are dependent on LPG. And what is this the government is trying to, sort of justify? That their inefficiencies in governance has to be burdened by a common consumer? And
Oops, lost the line there. Why should the common consumer be burdened? I'll play devil's advocate, open this up for debate. Suppose it is argued, my first question is to Sajid Chenoy. Where's the government's consistency, Mr. Chenoy? On October 15th, I have Jaipal Reddy who said that we are not in favor of further touching LPG prices. He says this on October 15th. Now he's shunted out. And on the 1st of November, how does the logic change?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to defend the consistency of the argument. What I will say is there is somehow the supposition that there is a free lunch to be had. Inflation is running at 10% in India, which affects everybody. And one of the reasons inflation is running at 10% is you have an unsustainable fiscal deficit. Nobody disagrees you require a social safety net for the poorest of the poor. The question is, do we want to have that social safety net in the form of untargeted diesel and LPG subsidies, or do we want to spend those resources on health and education?
How does the government make up its mind is my question at that time. Yes, Bejon Misra.
Arnab.
Bejon Misra first.
Make the system accountable to the consumer. Let the consumer know the transparency of the pricing mechanism. Today the petroleum companies are not coming out and telling us the cylinders are to be discarded after 6 years. They are still using it for 12 years. Why are they not being made accountable in terms of the quality and the pricing?
Mohandas Pai.
Challenging that.